All right, 5 o'clock. I'm going to call our park board meeting to order. First thing on the agenda, approval of the minutes. I would move to accept the minutes as presented.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye. I'm still reading them.
Oh,
Aye.
claims. The claims, has everyone had a hot minute to go over the claims? I would make a motion. I'd move to accept the claims as presented to us. Does anyone have any questions about the claims?
Second.
I hear a second from David Hertz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. New business. Let's go to report of park officials. Ms. Tanya Burnett, you're up.
A senior newsletter which has all the activities happening May and June. That's really just the easiest update so you can see what's all going on. We did have a return intern from last summer that helped with the seniors, who is covering the coordinator position over there 3 days a week. So Carter Hay is filling that position, so we aren't going to look to fill it till once he goes back to school later in August. But he's doing a great job already, keeping things going. The summer events are all right there on your stack as well. I gave you each a poster that you can take to work or do whatever, but all of those have been fully funded and sponsored, so we're rolling right along with all of the summer events. Campground update. Doug and Georgia are doing a phenomenal job. A lot of new initiatives down there. Cleanup, just doing a great job down there. Lots of great reviews from people staying, just a lot of customer service they're doing, and people are responding well to that. We do need to update and amend their contract to include Doug and Georgia. Georgia's doing a lot of the back end stuff in the computer for reservations, and the clerk treasurer's office would like her to be on the contract as well, since she has access to that information. People use their credit cards and that kind of stuff. So Carla signed that and is passing it down the line. But really, we added her name to the contract, and then the way that they are paid just a little bit. They requested a little less money than we had originally approved for them. So that's on there as well.
So those are the only two changes, is adding Georgia Vest to the contract and a tweak of the money because they are accepting less payment for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would move to accept those amended parts of the contract for our campground attendant.
Second.
And we got a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And any questions on any of those? I kind of went through them fast, but really the printed stuff in front of you is what you need to know. Okay.
All right, moving right along. Scott, you're up.
Thank you. 3 or 4 pages back in your packet is a Parks and Rec facts and figures sheet. It's a single sheet. I tried to consolidate it. I'm not going to go into all the detail, but what I wanted to do was show you where we are to date with all of our programs across the parks, and give you a little snippet of what's going on at Crystal Beach so far this year. So the top left quadrant of this sheet talks about swim lessons. We have a total of 428 slots available for swim lessons. We filled 212 of those, so we're at about 50% occupancy for swim lessons.
It's almost it's the last page.
The section just below that talks about some of our ancillary programs at the pool, water aerobics, deep river, our lazy river resistance walking, and deep water jogging. We have a total of 313 people enrolled in those programs, with water aerobics by far being the most popular, with approximately, probably about 250 people enrolled in different aspects of water aerobics for this year. So very, very good, very popular. Give you an update on the passes. We have sold 12 family passes, 49 individual passes, and 17 discount cards, which are 20 entry discount cards. Our other programs you can see listed at the bottom left corner. We did have 152 total kids signed up for baseball and softball this year. Whitney's worked really hard on trying to figure out how to make baseball work with smaller numbers. We created some travel teams where we go to Switzerland and Milan, and they come here for some competition. They've had some of the same issues. They've had some smaller numbers. That's worked out very well. I just saw an email that there's a tournament in Milan that we're seeing if we want to be part of that. So we're doing a little bit of like a travel team, but like a regional thing, not necessarily a travel team. Getting them play with some different areas, and I think that's been a little bit popular. Bottom right corner, total participants for our programs this year so far, and this also includes looking forward. So we've got 54 girls, kids in cheerleader camp, which has started a little bit of practice now, but that really kicks off more in August. So a little bit of forward looking. We don't have a lot of numbers for the fall yet, but including our 3 skate nights, we've impacted about 2,100 people in our program so far this year. So I think we're having a pretty good year as far as participants and people coming in and all the activities. It's I keep saying people talking about baseball, but we're way more than just baseball. So I think we're having a pretty successful year. Crystal Beach, I've got some sales numbers for you for the first 16 days. At the very top is concessions. We've had $14,500 in concession sales in 16 days. Average is 2,175 transactions, and the average transaction sale is $6.69. And then our daily average is about $900 a day is what we're selling at Crystal Beach. The front desk sales, we've had $18,760 in sales, 749 transactions. That's not how many people have come in the door. That's how many transactions we've had. Our daily average there is about $1,175 a day in revenue. This does not include the $2,500 that was given to us for opening day. Does not include Jane's Kids or Snap Wick. Those will all be collected at the end of the year. So those numbers don't include some of those big numbers yet. So this really is day-to-day what we've experienced so far.
But it's entry into the pool.
It's entry into the pool, yes. And we have kids 5 and under are free, so we don't count those. So this really is people who, general public outside of those programs. That's what this number reflects. The placer data for the first 13 days for Crystal Beach shows 6,800 visits in 13 days. And we've had, over the first 7 days, we had 5,500 visitors. So we're averaging almost 800 people a day when the weather's nice. So very popular, very popular.
Can I ask, Scott?
Yeah.
I know we discussed the family passes.
Yep.
How did we shake out on, how are they using that? Is it restricted to for certain people, or is it
Oh, yeah.
flexible?
We're not checking IDs when people walk in. So if a family comes in, we don't know whether their kids are their kids or they brought their friends. So as long as they have 4 cards, we don't care.
Right.
Yeah, it has to be flexible. We're not gonna be,
Nazis.
You can't-
Nazis at the door.
You
Yeah.
can't police it.
Yeah, show me your
Yeah.
papers, please. So it's a fun place. We want it to be a fun place. We don't
But
want it,
it doesn't appear the cost is prohibiting anybody from going.
No.
Which was a concern earlier.
Exactly,
with
exactly.
Some people. So.
yeah, I think the sheer volume of the visitors we have is crazy. I mean, I knew it was gonna be popular, but I'm very surprised at how popular.
When I've gone by there,
Yeah,
it
it's,
looks packed.
Me
even
too.
yesterday when it was cold, there was still 50, 60 people in the water, and so.
It's good.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, and we have a lot of hardworking people over there, and there's a lot of things we're working out, a lot of things we're figuring out. Working with the treasurer's office on reports of collections and collecting sales tax, and how we're doing this and how we're doing that. And so we're getting that ironed out now, and we should have that all squared away next week, and should be good for the rest of the summer. So a few little bugs here and there, things we need, but it's, everything, nothing's that catastrophic, and nothing that really was big enough to cause a concern for everybody, so.
So I know one of our things was that we really wanted to make it easier and swipe the cards, but we're not swiping the cards.
No.
So is it the software that we purchased that's not able? Why is it not working?
Because I wasn't confident. By the time we got the training on them and understood what we had to do, I wasn't confident with the volume that I thought we were going to get to make sure we weren't creating a bottleneck at the front desk playing with the cards. So what we're doing is they're showing their cards, showing that they have them, and we're tracking them with a checklist. So we can track who's coming in from that, so we know that they're there. I've already talked to the vendor for next year. I want scan cards, so people can come in and just scan their card, and then they can go off. We capture all we need to capture. So this year, it's too many different processes we have to do with our cards to capture the data that we need to do. First of all, we have to go through and front load all the cards, and then we have to hand the cards out, and then when they come in, we have to go through a series of procedures with our credit card terminal to capture those people. So that ties up the credit card terminal for anybody else who's coming in. So it was just too prohibitive from a time standpoint per entry to do the original plan. Now, next year, I think if we have an optic scanner, they can come in, they scan it, all the data's there. I'm more worried about speed than I am making sure people swipe their card. As long as we have a visual, we did little markers on the back of each card to tell what kind of pass it is. So if you come in and you have a green star, we know it's an annual pass, or you're a senior citizen, or you're a first responder. If you have a smiley face, we know you're a Jane's kid. If you have a little heart, you know you'd snap WIC. So those are the spreadsheets we have. They check out people as they come in, so we track them that way. But we have our front spreadsheet with all the cards assigned to it. So we have all the data we need from the people coming in. I am more concerned about getting people in the door than spending 3 or 4 minutes a person at the card machine. So that's why.
And then, did I understand you right? You mentioned, I know one of the things that they've struggled with at the Crystal Beach is the point of sales
Yep.
going on to the receipt, and that's all about the clerk's office and all that. And you think we can fix that with the system that we have?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
without a doubt. It always comes down to people and training. And so we're gonna move forward, we're gonna identify 4 people who are closing people. So two at the front desk and 2 at concessions. They will be responsible to close every night. They will follow the procedures that we'll have written down. Right now, we've got too many people doing too many different things. So we're gonna narrow that down, we're gonna identify who can close, and they'll be closing people, and then we'll have the system down. So that should eliminate any of that issue whatsoever. We're gonna do training probably maybe later this week or Monday morning with those 4 people and make sure they've got the process down. So that'll fix that real quick.
Okay. And then I just wanted to give some feedback that I talked to a grandma that her granddaughter had gone to the science camp and just really positive. She said it was awesome
Great,
and that, they would do it again in a heartbeat.
good.
So kudos to whoever your teacher was. And
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the numbers on that, I checked today, because we sent them, filled out their invoice, and I think they charged us $1,360, and we brought in just a little bit over 1,700. So, made a little bit of money on that. The numbers weren't quite where I wanted them to be, but I don't think we really advertised that very well, especially as we got closer. I think there was some demand out there, but we didn't advertise it with our shortfall in communications. We've got to be more spontaneous on how we advertise what we do and quicker. So I think we're moving in that direction, but I think we had a little bit of a deficit there, but we still came out profitable on it. So
the only regret was that their camp didn't get over in time so that they could go swimming. You know, it was too close. It was
Yep.
just a short amount of time because
Yeah.
they looked out the windows longingly because it was in Hunter Hall. They
Yeah,
had
we
to watch
them-
the
actually
kids
had 'em
swimming all
earlier
day.
in the day, and then a few weeks ago, we got a request from them to ship them back a few hours, and that second class bumped up to like 5:30.
Yes.
Yeah. So, any questions on Crystal Beach so far? I don't have I don't have a detailed expense report for you yet. I've got to go through and do all the personnel piece of that and plug that in. So next meeting we'll have that. I'll have a bit better personnel report for you and where we are to date. I know we're spending a lot of money on chemicals. I've got to figure out if that's a function of the bodies in the pool or if it's a function of something going on with the chemicals. So more than I thought we would. So that's one thing I've got to keep an eye on.
And so, just real quick on the water aerobics too, because I know that's our big winter chicken dinner.
Yep.
So, full season, I see 40 people enrolled, so that was capacity. And then you broke it down into 3 different sessions. Those are all at capacity with a quite a waiting list. So is there absolutely no time to squeeze in another session, or in the future, maybe plan on an additional session of water aerobics?
Well, what we wanted to do was limit the size until we understood how that impacted in the pool.
Sure.
And so originally it was like, because if you think about the full season during the day, we have 40 people for the full season, but each additional session has 15. So each session has 55 people in it.
Right.
And then at nighttime, we've got 60. We left some room for walk-ins during the daytime. So if we had 5 people a day who wanted to walk in and pay a daily fee for water aerobics, we have capacity for them. So right now it's about data collection and seeing how that goes. If we feel like we've got more capacity than we thought we would, we'll bump that number up next year for sure and say, okay, maybe we can do 80.
Okay.
And so this year, again, it's about data collection and seeing how it fits out and how people stand in the pool and how they navigate in there. So yeah, we're doing 55 a day right now for our sessions. And what we did as well, because we ran out of room with the 40 capacity, and so people who signed up for session 1, 2, and 3, we gave them the same price as a full season. So we gave them some money. We gave them $20 back on the individual price because they're going to go the full season anyway. So we gave them some money back, so they were paying the same price as a full season person.
Okay.
So we've been fair with people who've signed up for that. And again, it's not about us making a ton of money. We just want to do the right thing.
And then my last thing, I'm sorry, keep talking. I don't see men's softball or church softball in your numbers, and I know we have good numbers there.
Yeah, I don't have those numbers in from Christian yet.
He told me they had 18 men's softball teams and 12 church softball teams.
Yeah, he hasn't given me those numbers.
Men's softball's been going for a few days already, but okay. They're 4 nights a week, men's softball at John Paul Park.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't have those numbers yet, so they're not included in here.
okay, thank you.
All right, I talked about Jane's Kids entries and SNAP-WIC entries. We're tracking those. I don't have those numbers yet as to where we are. SNAP-WIC, we have a total of 400 maximum number of people who can be in that program. Just taking a real quick look at it without counting numbers, I'd say we're probably at about 300 now. So we have another 100 slots to fill. And based upon what I've seen for the sales through concessions, they're not going crazy. They're not spending a lot of money in concessions. I think we probably had a total of maybe $500 or $600 in sales for 300 people. So I think that number's pretty good. But we'll see how, as the summer goes along, how that increases. Jane's Kids pretty much stopped their entries at about 31 individuals. They are talking, I think, this week on seeing if they've got more funding coming in. They've got a wait list, so they may open it up for the next bunch of people on the wait list. So we'll know, I have a meeting on Thursday with them and Bethany. We'll probably know more then. So that may open up for more Jane's Kids to come in as well. But we won't know that really till a little bit later. And I talked about concession sales. Financial updates year to date. Sunrise, so your first page is a snapshot of where we are for the year. If you look over to basically the middle box, Fiscal year 2024 to date, revenue 237,000, and expenses 223, for net profit of 14,000. Remind you that this year we are paying chemical invoices monthly versus one lump sum in July like we've done in the past. So probably next month we'll catch up very quickly year to date from last year. So that's really kind of the significant difference there with the expense line of it. Down below is tracking some key indicators as to what's going on. So cart fees, green fees, food and beverage, and pro shop. The pro shop category is not selling golf balls and shirts. It's selling annual passes and cart fees and those kinds of things. Trail fees, cart storage, that's what the pro shop category includes. So that number is down about 38,000. If you remember, we opened up sales in December of last year, pre-sales. So some of that may have been sold in December, when I expect we'll capture that again this December going into next year. We're very close year to date from last year to this year on cart fees and greens fees, and we're slightly ahead on the food and beverage number from last year. Anybody have any questions? The backup behind that is just more line item data that you can dive into on your own if you'd like. My tracking spreadsheet. And then after that is a section on kind of where we are with passes for the year, how many we've sold, annual passes, spouse passes, juniors, and so on. So that just gives you a little summary of how many of each we sold for this year. And we'll be able to track that better next year for year over year. Any questions on that?
Is that about the same as the year before? The annual passes?
No, I think we're down in annual passes. I think
Okay.
probably economy has something to do with that. People are doing the math and whether or not it makes sense to go play and not pay those. So I think that's our impact on annual passes. We haven't changed any pricing on them. Our spouse pass, we increased $15. So that's not really an impact for anybody. So that's what I'm thinking, just anecdotally.
Are you gonna provide something like this every meeting?
Yes.
Can we get like a comparative to the year before?
Yeah, it's on the sheet. You have it there.
I'm talking about this one.
Oh, yeah, I think we can probably go into golf now and pull those numbers out.
I just, out of
Yeah.
curiosity, like cart storage.
Yeah.
We have 23, what did we have last year, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think our capacity is 24,
Okay,
so we're pretty much at capacity.
all right, just was
But,
curious.
yeah, I can probably go into golf now and pull that number, that information out. Yeah, I'll be happy to do that.
Thanks.
Sure. Campground, basically the top is monthly tracking of where we are. The expense piece of that, I want to remind you, again, I'll remind you every month, because it's month to month, that our expenses now include credit card fees, transaction fees, processing fees. We collect those as revenue and we show them as expenses. So our net at the end of the day, basically they wash out, but I still want to show them as revenue and expenses, because we take the money in and we spend the money on the backside. So fiscal year to date, $136,000 in revenue, just under $25,000 in expenses for a net revenue of $111,500. And then you can look down below from 2023 where we were year to date. If you go to the next page, is the summary on there. That'll help you a little bit better. So our revenue is up about 31,000. End of month, our expenses are up about 5,000. Now last year we didn't collect credit card transaction fees, but we paid those out. We had a $3.50 transaction fee, so it was a big loss for us last year. So that number will be better for us this year. Year-to-date variance, simple math there. Looks like we're up about 23% overall. And then our reservation numbers, I don't have this compared to last year because we can't access that software anymore. So I have no way of going back and pulling that. But going forward, we'll have it here
Yeah.
So going forward after this year, we'll always have year-to-date. And then
Okay.
at some point, we can do a 5-year look back and look at some broader numbers there. So the numbers are still not encouraging. I mean, totally, for the year, we're at 37% total. So that's a lot of empty spaces. So I think until we renovate and put a sewer system in and make some significant improvements, that number is probably not going to change much. It might a little bit, but we're not going to get to 70% occupancy, I don't think, at the campground, not until we make changes. And then the next page is just a little bit more detail.
You know, at our last meeting, we gave permission to run some special rates during weekdays. Have we been able to do that, and have we seen people starting
I
to?
did want to just comment on that because George has been tenacious about going after those days and ideas, and even today messaged me that she's getting ready to do a play and stay. We got golf course passes and passes for the pool. So those days after regatta, she said through August, we don't have bookings Monday through Thursday. So she's getting ready to run a promotion and offer 2 pool passes for the day or 2 plays at the golf course if they come stay during the week on those days. So yes, she is doing that and reaching out through email and offering some of those promotions and getting some bookings from them. So she's working hard at that.
Okay, thank you.
The last item we have is the open house survey results, which you have in your packet towards the very back. I'm not going to read through this. You guys can take this back and read it. We have copies for the public if they so desire to have these. 79 respondents for the most part. I did flag a couple pages just to highlight them. I don't know what page it is. Do you believe the City of Madison Parks Department is well-funded? 66% said no or maybe, so that's just interesting. The next page talks about the usage of parks. Sunrise, 61% said they don't use Sunrise of the respondents. 60% said they don't use Rucker, and 79% said they do use Crystal Beach. That shouldn't surprise anybody. So it just begs the question of, is the programming not right, or is our facilities not right? And then the next page, I flagged how important is that our parks are updated and made current, and 63% gave us 10 as severely or significantly important. Do you think the park system is designed for current trends and set up to be ready for the next 20 years? We have, let's do the math there, basically 90% said no or maybe. So that's significant. The rest of them are just comments that people made. A lot of pickleballers. So part of the conversation. Yeah. So a lot of pickleball comments. Some good comments in here. Some ideas. Nothing that really, I think, surprises anybody. But I'm not going to go through there. You can find the one where somebody wants me to get fired. So I enjoyed that one. So you can look through that.
Is that you, Phil? Nope.
So just some interesting data. 79 respondents total. Any comments from the public?
I would like to see us get that. I know we gave out the survey at our open house, correct? Is that where we were starting to gather that? I know a few years ago, there was one that the city put out, more widespread. Everybody received it through email, or I can't remember where I found it, but to get a wider response, than just the 79 people that we heard from. I just think we need to find a way to get it to more people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even that survey had less than 300 people, that last survey y'all did.
Yeah, that is, we're getting ready to do our trash containers in city council, and we are inserting a flyer in the water bill, and everyone, almost everyone, I do mine electronically, but, you know, that would be more widespread too, but.
Yeah.
We're
just for
getting
the
ready
future.
to do the fair. We could take some printed copies out there, but it is hard to get people to fill out one
Yeah,
like that too. so.
Especially paper.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we do not have any public comment. And so our next meeting is Monday, July 1st, 5 o'clock here. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn.
And a second.
Second.
I have
All
one,
those in favor say aye.
I have one thing to add.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We are going to be at the fair that second week of July. If any of you guys want to come out and talk to the public, just an invitation.
All right, thanks. Meeting adjourned.